for Virtus Pro Polar towards their offlane. There doesn't really seem to be anything better left inside the pool. Maybe Centaur for the utility to disengage, but I think that's probably your safest bet.
So Zeus, that's also here that they could go for. It's pretty much the exact opposite of minus armor, since it's just pure magical damage, and up against an anti-mage, it's certainly a bold move from VP. I suppose they do have the Slark, so if there is a late game man fight, anti-mage versus Slark, they will have someone to actually combat up against that. Disruptor, Witch Doctor, Puck, all very fragile heroes. With the exception of Anti-Mage being on the Hellraiser side, I think the Zeus is going to be a pretty decent hero here for VP.
Yeah, fair enough, especially if he's able to get a decent amount out of the lane up against a Puck. Although he's not going to win the lane, he should be able to get a decent amount of farm there as well. So it doesn't really matter much, and he's going to get pretty much unobstructed experience on top of it all. Right now, both teams presumably looking towards an offlaner, but the pool is really slim. Hellraisers are probably going to throw that Puck towards the offlane, pick up something up against the Zeus. You can pretty much go for any hero you want to. Zeus isn't one that really takes over the lane at all.
And with heroes like Death Prophet and Viper still in the pool, then they could match up the Zeus really, really easily if Hellraisers want to shuffle their lanes around. I think for VP, there is potential here for going for an aggressive tri-lane. It's pretty clear, I think, that Hellraisers are going to be putting their Anti-Mage, Disruptor, and Witch Doctor all in a lane together, probably defensively, just because Anti-Mage is going to excel in that role. But as far as this aggressive tri-lane is concerned, this is one of the more dangerous ones. Visage is a king in the tri-lane. Ogre Magi is also incredibly difficult to bring down, and Slark is Slark, but Axe is the pick for Hellraisers. I suppose that can get around the power of the familiars and just shred everything in the process.
I suppose so, but how are these lanes going to work out for Hellraisers, I think is the bigger question. Axe, is he going to be soloing mid, or is he going to be going towards the offlane with support, or without support?
I could see Axe getting away with an offlane solo. You could reasonably expect that. Well, the worst lane for Axe is that he's going to be going up against 3 heroes, in which case you bail and you jungle. In which case those 3 heroes are stuck in the lane and they're not contesting the Anti-Mage's farm. Okay, you can go for a Spirit Breaker too. So I don't think anyone who's watching expected Axe and Spirit Breaker to be the last picks. I have no idea how the lanes are going to work anymore. Like, I'm just out. I have no idea.
I love this pick for Virtus Pro Polar, though. I actually think Spirit Breaker kind of fits with the style of lineup that they're going for, and if there ever was a Spirit Breaker game, this looks like a pretty darn good one. Glimpse from Disruptor is going to be the bane of his existence. He's always going to have that risk if he's coming into a lane, and there's also a Paralyzing Cast that can be pretty disruptive, but outside of that, Spirit Breaker... Yeah, I'm really excited to see this hero actually in action. Hopefully it works out for Virtus Pro Polar, and even if they lose, I mean, we can't really be mad at all. We get to see an Axe Spirit Breaker. How many times do we get to say that, especially in the same game?
I don't think I've ever seen it in the same game, so this is definitely going to be new for me. Also, something that's a little bit new is the fact that Spirit Breaker, for right now, doesn't look like he's going to be played as a support, and 9 times out of 10, if you're going to be seeing a support, if you're going to be seeing a Spirit Breaker in your game, it's going to be as a 4-position, aggressive, kind of roaming support guy. But for this game, it's actually going to be a core Spirit Breaker, it looks like, with FNG and the Ogre Magi and Lil on the Visage. So for VP, they're planning on getting this Spirit Breaker farm. And as far as that late game man fight that I was talking about earlier, well, Slark versus Anti-Mage is okay for both sides. Once you add that extra bashing in there, then things get really bad for Hellraisers.
It definitely does. For now, we're going to be starting things off with a 1 to 2 minute pause, as Virtus Pro Polar do need a minute. But either way, I suppose this will give us time to introduce our lineups and maybe talk a little bit more about the draft. Dread's going to be playing on the Witch Doctor on the Dire side for Hellraisers. Goddamn's going to be playing the Disruptor. Gorath's on the Axe. Artist on the Anti-Mage, and Aphonage on the Puck.
Did you cut out, or?
Did I cut out?
Oh, yeah, okay. I just heard playing the, and then there's nothing. Okay, but hopefully that was just a Skype thing. We're good, because on VP, FNG is going to be playing the Ogre Magi. Mag is going to be taking the Spirit Breaker up towards top. DK Phobos is going to be playing the mid lane Zeus with Illidan on the Slark, and Lil is going to be handling the Visage dual lanes with an Ogre Magi Spirit Breaker. Going up against what I assume to be a tri-lane of Hellraisers with Anti-Mage, Witch Doctor, and Disruptor. I don't really know who has an edge here, though I do want to say that Hellraisers should have the consistent pressure. It is very possible for VP Polar to just charge right in with the Fire Blast and just do way too much damage to Witch Doctor and Disruptor before they could even react.
Honestly, I would have liked to see them commit fully to the aggressive Charlie and throw the Visage up there as well, just to push it over the edge with the Soul Assumption on top of everything else. But this will get you level 2 faster on these 2 Virtus Pro Polar heroes, and once you get level 2 on Spirit Breaker and Ogre Magi, the fun really starts when you have access to both Ignite and Fire Blast, and you have the chance to get those bashes coming out from Mag. If you get your positioning well, the enemy team can't really do much. You can end up getting stun locked into Oblivion if you just get one bash.
Yeah, so usually Spirit Breaker, as far as cores are concerned, isn't really a super late game hero as much as Anti-Mage is, so VP, they're definitely on the more aggressive path, and Hellraisers, they have to hold down the fort in order to get this Anti-Mage a little bit of farm. I honestly don't think that VP Polar could contest Anti-Mage's farm that much. They'll be able to mess with the supports and maybe get a couple of kills there, but what VP Polar want to do in this game is to, first of all, just get a couple levels up. Like, level 6s on everyone is going to be the golden moment, and then probably just turn up the aggression dial to maximum, and then just never ever stop, and see if they could win the game from that. And Hellraisers, because they know that that's going to be the plan of action for VP, Blink Dagger on Axe and Puck are going to be the most important items for them, and that's usually the case, but in this game it's just a little bit more so.
Right now, the Axe is completely abandoned the bottom lane. Goritz is going to be going into the jungle, which is warranted up against a potential try or dual lane coming out from Virtus Pro Polar. It's going to bump into FNG. And for now, nobody's actually trading hits. Ogre with the boots is going to be able to outrun the Axe 9 times out of 10. It's actually Spirit Breaker to solo the off lane, and well, that's an interesting choice. You can't put much pressure onto the Anti-Mage alone, but I don't think they can zone him out super effectively either, especially with only the Witch Doctor there. You can put a little bit of damage into the Spirit Breaker, but not enough to get him out of experience range, especially if we get a bash here. Yeah, there's your bash.
Oh, there's two bashes.
Yeah, Dread just lost that man fight because RNGesus decided to have a little bit of a say in that trade.
So it turns out Mag has been practicing his Spirit Breaker, guys. The bash, though it does say 17%, really is more around 30 if you're really practiced with the hero. RT's now going to get into a man fight with Mag, but here comes the Ignite charge forward onto Dread. Witch Doctor with level 1 healing. Are there going to be any bashes? He got one before, 2 before, but it's not going to happen again. Doesn't matter. Ogre Matter's going to claim that kill, and goddamn also wandering through. Fortunately for him, there's no mana on the Spirit Breaker because this cow is dumb. But it's still going to be first blood on VP for the top lane, and in the meantime, bottom lane, Goritz is going to be picking a fight with Lil and Illidan. He's going to get a couple spins, and the armor might help him, not help him enough. Illidan is going to claim the kill down towards bottom. Man, top lane and bottom lane going pretty much perfectly for VP Polar. Mid lane holding even. This early game start is already looking really good for them.
It is, and now Zeus with that bottle running is going to be able to keep up that farm and keep it trading even up against the Puck. They are primed for a very snowballed game. Double damage right now on the Spirit Breaker. If he had enough mana for a charge or two, this could be really scary. But for now, Spirit Breaker loading out with no clarities is going to be a little bit sad because of that. But then again, Ogre Magi getting really close to getting those arcane boots after getting the last hit on that first kill.
And also Disruptor and Witch Doctor both do not have boots. So because Mag does have his boots after those first couple of kills, then he's going to be well, able to keep up to the enemies just a little bit easier, as Spirit Breakers normally are. Even without empowering haste, he will be able to just beat down on the supports if they get too close. And right now for Hellraisers, their supports know about that, and they should be playing this very safely. This sentry is going to help them so much, just keeping in the shadows, making sure that Mag doesn't have any sight for a charge. I mean, the supports are a little bit safer, but I don't know if they're going to be safe enough. Archie's Mana Break is probably going to be one of the best tools here for Hellraisers, just to keep Spirit Breaker's mana down. Like, one hit is going to set Mag back by so much, and look at that, no more charge all of a sudden.
Yeah, and that's so annoying to deal with as a Spirit Breaker. Charge, it can be used to go around globally through the map, which is usually how we see it. But then again, it can also just be a castable bash, which is pretty good as well. The Axe has completely left his lane and finds himself some satyrs, which is nice for Goritz, but after dying once, there's no reason for him to go down to the bottom lane. And because of it, I think this is a pretty decent Midas game for the Slark. And look at that, he already has the recipe. Illidan's having a grand old time.
And you never really want to give Slark free farm, and you never really want to give Illidan free farm. Combining the two of those usually leads to pretty disastrous effects, as Slark is going to be getting quite a bit of cash very, very quickly, and up against a 2v0 lane that's kind of to be expected. Goretz is going to be trying to stake out the 4-minute rune, finds a regen, though he doesn't really get much value out of it. HeflaTV now dueling with FNG as he orbs upwards, thinking about going to the high ground. FNG, he's very, very low. Goretz not using the call, actually. I don't really know why he didn't. That probably could have been a kill.
Yeah, I think it would have been. Ogre is going to be able to casually walk that one off. Maybe thinking it wasn't in range, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that he would have at least been able to stop him. Either way, Axe is still going to be able to farm even after missing a potential kill opportunity, and FNG is going to be very lucky because of that. Spiritbreaker left alone up towards top, has mana for one charge, but one attack from the Anti-Mage is going to deny that from him, and now Glimpse back is in a whole heap of trouble. It is going to be dropped down incredibly low, and they should be able to pursue this one out if they wanted to. At the very least, they force out the salve.
Spiritbreaker is getting quite a bit of experience in this top lane, and I think a 1v3 Spiritbreaker, this is pretty much as good as you could expect him to do. You know, the assist also helping out quite a bit. So Mag, as far as his condition in the lane, he's not going to be, you know, getting any solo kills. That's just not going to happen unless Hellraisers decide to make a suicide dive through the tier 1. Once he gets to level 6, he'll be a lot more online, but really all he needs is just every single level. Just because Charge of Darkness and Bash, really no matter what he wants to go for, the Spiritbreaker does scale pretty darn well in a linear fashion, so any sort of experience you give him is certainly very nice, and so far, even though he's not farming the best, he's not farming the worst either. I don't think Hellraisers can say that they shut down the Spiritbreaker just yet.
No, definitely not. If they killed him there, maybe, just maybe, but even so, Spiritbreaker is now going to look for a little bit of room. Where that is, I'm honestly not so sure. Killing HeflaTV is going to be really difficult on the mid. Puck can phase shift, and even though this charge will still go through, it doesn't actually matter. Puck's very hard to lock down with these heroes unless they have all of the bashes in their favor. He's going to secure the 6-minute rune for the Zeus, and DK Phobos is going to be happy because of it.
Mag is claritying up. He's not quite level 6 yet, but with this position on the Spiritbreaker and with Illidan camping a haste rune, they're thinking about going for someone. It probably will not be that Puck, and Axe is right now hidden, so Mag has a full mana pool, or a decent mana pool, though I don't think he could actually do anything with it. They also have the Thunder God's Wrath available on the Zeus, so VP can put out a lot of surprise damage on the Hellraiser side very, very quickly. The problem is they don't have any openings right now, just because Puck is more or less immune to the Spiritbreaker, and top lane, you need more than one person up there, so though VP Polar can fight very well, their opportunities for fighting are just really, really slim right now. Like, there is no one on the map who's a viable option. You can't go for Puck, you can't go for Anti-Mage, you don't see anybody else.
Yeah, so for now we're just going to wait until the next round of items comes out. Blink Dagger on Illidan might allow them to go aggressively, but it is very passive, and with this start, not exactly what you want. Mag getting level 6 is also another trigger for aggression where they can potentially look to lock down one of those heroes if they get a couple lucky bashes or if the charge actually connects. But with Disruptor sitting behind the Anti-Mage, that's just so unlikely, and then Blink away from Artis is more often than not going to keep him safe. As good as a time that the Slark is having, Anti-Mage is also having a decent time. Not really being touched all that much in the top lane.
Anti-Mage, though, not as explosive as the Slark. Illidan is going to not rush up the Blink Dagger instantly as I thought he was going to go. He's instead going to go for Goretz. Lands the pounce, Thunder God's Wrath as well. Illidan into the Shadow Dance will get the kill. Barely getting out of there, and, well, the Spiritbreaker stopping his charge halfway. Illidan pretty much just did that one by himself with a little bit of help from DK Phobos. Axe clearly cannot go into this lane right now. He's got to go right back into the jungle. Had Culling Blade, but unfortunately Shadow Dance is pretty darn good. So Illidan's going to get one more kill for himself, and he's still under absolutely no pressure. He's going to be up to full HP in a hurry because of Shadow Dance. And, well, the lane is going to continue as such. Goddamn is going to run to DK Phobos and FNG. Not where you want to be as any hero, let alone a support. He's going to maybe die to Satyrs. He's going to get ignited, but the health from the Witch Doctor is certainly going to help Restoration, keeping him up, and, well, Goddamn's going to be lucky to escape. Glimpse onto DK Phobos just in time, and, well, it's 40 seconds until the ultimate from Zeus, so barely the Disruptor gets to get away, but that's pretty much how dangerous VP Polar are right now. If you're out of position just by a little bit, you're going to be taking a lot of damage, if not outright dying.
Currently, Spiritbreaker is going to get a little bit of experience inside the woods, as the Visage has been doing through the entirety of this game. When you concede a lane as an offlaner and go into your jungle very early on, it allows the supports to continuously pull, and Lil's going to be really happy about that. He's currently almost at his level 6, and once they have level 6 on him and the Spiritbreaker, their ability to find kills is a lot easier.
Especially if they have the Thunder God's Wrath up, and Zeus, well, he's holding on to a Glove of Haste, so that could only mean one thing. Maelstrom. No, it's not Maelstrom. It's probably going to be the Hand of Midas, although Maelstrom with Zeus seems pretty darn flavorful. A Midas on Zeus is not an item that we really see that often. As far as levels are concerned, yeah, it's nice to have a Zeus that's high level, but he's not really going to be the one to excel into the late game. It guarantees your Aghanim Scepter, Refresher, or probably down the line, but I don't really think VP Polar want to be taking this late, so I don't really know if I like this Gloves of Haste, especially if TK Phobos is going to get jumped right now. Affin into the coil, going to put a lot of damage in TK Phobos. Here comes Goretz, and goddamn, Phobos is going to get decapitated. Visage coming out from the side will throw a Soul Assumption, dropping Affinage very low, but unfortunately not low enough. Now a glimpse back into a field. Lil has a little bit of fog to work with, and it might be enough to get him out of here. Has another Grave Chill in 2 seconds. Here comes the Space Cow. He's going to connect onto Goddamn, has his ultimate as well, but with the TP coming in from the Witch Doctor, they have to just book it. Cask going to be thrown just in range. Mag is also going to get called within the Connect field. Orb flying through. Mag is doomed to fall as well. That's 2 kills for the Hellraisers. Pretty easily done from them, and well, VP Polar just getting a little bit too over-aggressive with the Spirit Breaker.
For sure, and it's definitely something that's easy to do. Spiritbreaker, you want to be charging at the enemy team. You don't pick this hero to chill and farm and sit passively for the first couple minutes of the game. And that's exactly what Virtus Pro Polar have kind of been forced into doing. So I can definitely understand Spiritbreaker getting a little antsy. Illidan Stormrage is still completely free farming away, and he's going to be working towards a Shadow Blade. This is going to be a really big pickup for Virtus Pro Polar. Their global ganking potential in the enemy woods especially is going to be really strong. This game, more than most, I might like to see Illidan maybe go for an Orchid on this Slark, just so that they have a better way of killing this anti-mage while he's out farming alone.
Yeah, Orchid would be really sweet on the Slark, just sneaking up on him and then hitting him, silencing him. There's not much you could do from that point. I really like the Slark's build in this game. Going for Shadow Blade is not often an item that many people are going to be recommending, but if your game plan is going to be playing aggressively, then Shadow Blade is the item that you want to get. That being said, it just makes the Zeus's Hand of Midas, or what I'm assuming to be Hand of Midas, that much worse, just because Zeus is, I suppose, capable of doing a lot of damage even without that many items, but it's just not in line with the rest of the team. Regardless, the rest of the team is going to be going up towards the top lane. There's 3 heroes here with the ultimate now up on Visage. Global support from Zeus is also there. And of course, we're going to have yet another pause. It's maybe a fight brewing up on the top lane. Anti-Mage is very rapidly approaching his Battle Fury, and so far, VP Polar have done nothing to touch him.
Yeah, they haven't, currently sitting at 77 last hits. That pales in comparison to Slark's farm because he's gotten 2 kills as well as has been working with the Midas, but still really scary. And Virtus Pro Polar need to do something quick about that. And it looks like just pushing up top is going to be that move. For now, neither team can really say they have a huge advantage. Although Virtus Pro Polar do have the lead in Golden Experience, it's nothing too huge and nothing that Hellraisers can't work against.
There's only going to be a little bit of gold before Hellraisers will have a decisive advantage, though. Puck, so close to his Blink Dagger. Axe, also, if he wants to, he's also very close to his Blink Dagger, so a lot more of initiation on the Hellraisers side. And VP, their initiation is going to be there with the Slark, but as far as starting large-scale engagements, a Shadow Blading Slark is not really what you want. He's good for getting single pickoffs, he's good for starting 2v1s, he's good for starting ganks, but not quite the caliber of a blinking Puck and a blinking Axe, and it looks like Goretz is going to be going for that item. This is going to be pretty dangerous from VP Polar. They will see Affinage's Blink Dagger, or at least they should see it, but they will not know that Axe has his, and that is a little bit more surprising for them.
Definitely. Right now, Disruptor is going to disconnect. What's actually happening, we have no idea. Either way, I don't think it really matters what Zeus is going for this Hand of Midas. I think Blink Dagger would have been at least my personal choice, and maybe even a little bit better this game. Based on how everybody else is playing, if you're still able to fight while you're farming with the Midas, all the power to you, but I think that positioning tool is just going to be so necessary up against the mobile team coming out from Hellraisers.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't really see the benefit of Hand of Midas on Zeus. It's very clear on a farmer like Slark, you just get more gold, you get more items, you get more kills. Even Puck, like after Blink Dagger, the Midas is justifiable just because he already has everything he needs in Blink Dagger. I suppose Zeus is kind of the same way in that he already has everything he needs. He doesn't need that much. Like, he's perfectly fine right now, so you might as well go for Hand of Midas afterwards, but I don't really know what you're building towards as Zeus that is really that important, so we'll see if it works out. Maybe it's going to just be not punished by Hellraisers. Maybe he's just going to coast along with that extra gold, and he's going to be really happy for it. The person I would like to see pick up a Midas is Mag on the Spirit Breaker, but I think it is a little bit too late for that. He's already gone pretty deeply into the intermediate basic items.
Yeah, this is at least my favorite build to go on Spirit Breaker. After that really passive early game, going for Midas would have been okay. But right now, I think you just go for the Treads. After Urn and Orb of Venom, backing off for a Midas just feels really awkward.
And I don't think anyone else would benefit hugely from a Midas in this game, so yeah, that should be just about be the case for Midas. Should be the case for the Blink Daggers on Hellraisers. And until the Disruptor gets back, it's going to be hard to see what is actually going to happen here. Although it looks like VP Polar, they're looking for a fight in the mid lane. They are also spotted out by an Observe Ward. Kind of inconveniencing Hellraisers the fact that Goretz has a Blink Dagger, though it's not on him, and he's also not at full HP. If that was all on the axe, if he had a full health pool, and if he had a Blink Dagger on him, then Hellraisers would be itching for a fight right now. Even without their Anti-Mage, I think they would be able to, if not completely win a fight, take a fight very, very well.
For sure. Well, we are going to have a G's coming out from Virtus Pro Polar at the very least. Hopefully Hellraisers have gotten their team in order, and looks like Disruptor is back into this game. So I don't know why we're not going. Yeah, for now. That's about it. The Visage just have his level 6, but not much more than that. They need 1 minute. Alrighty then. Looks like Visage is going to be building into a medallion for their team. But outside of that, the Visage really doesn't have that much. It could be a mechanism very well, since nobody else is purchasing up components towards a mech, and really is a great mech carrier at that. That was a very fast minute. Okay, suppose we're good.
Dota players can't tell time, man. It's true. It's been proven by science that people who play Dota just do not understand how time works. So either way, it's going to be a resume, and yeah, for Lil, though the medallion would be really nice, it normally very is. I don't really know if their physical damage is enough to really make it a high priority. As okay, Illidan just sniped off the Anti-Mage. I probably should have seen that one coming, but they were not near each other when the pause was actually in. So, well, that's going to be that. Anti-Mage really should not be dying in this stage of the game, and he definitely should not be dying 1 versus 1. Definitely should not be dying 1 versus 1 versus the enemy carry. So no matter how you slice it, a terrible series, or a terrible event happening for the Hellraisers, and Illidan, I guess, showing off the Shadow Blade, but now Hellraisers will be packing that detection, as they are already holding 1 set of sentries on the Disruptor, and that's about it.
Yeah, I was not expecting the Slark to be able to pull off that kill. I just caught the tail end of it, but the burst damage coming out from a Slark with this many levels at this point in the game is ridiculous. That's only a level 8 Anti-Mage, and usually that's enough, but he just didn't have time to react. Between the Dark Pact doing 300 damage, the Pounce 240, plus the Shadow Blade hit, Anti-Mage melted.
And Anti-Mage, he's not the most durable hero on the Hellraiser side, but has comparable durability to the Disruptor and the Witch Doctor, both of whom will also fall that much faster. And now actually Lil's going to get caught by Aphoninge. There is a Blink call here, and they're familiars to help him spin. There's the Blink, there's the Culling Blade. I guess you don't need to call if you're going to use that. Goretz, though, is going to get completely surrounded. Illidan is going to open up with that Pounce. Space Cow coming in as well, charging forward, and will kill off the Axe on impact. That's going to be a 1-for-1 Hellraisers. Really have to worry about this mobility from VP Polar at this point. Of course, they don't really expect Ogre to be there, but still, it's not exactly the best trade for them.
That is your Midas completed up onto the Zeus, so that is going to be taking for DK Phobos. Only time will tell if that actually pays off. Spirit Breaker charging onto Goddamn, and it looks like he's completely screwed with the ultimate and the Visage Familiars. My goodness, did not last long. Glimpse, more than anything, helps the Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, thanks for the free path out of there, I guess, but that's going to be yet another kill, and oh my god, what is with this game? More gray screen than anything else, but this time, you know what, this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the Slark, because he is currently invisible, not invisible for much longer. He is going to pop out of Invis but still be undetected. There is a chance that he runs into Dread right now. There is a chance that he runs into Aphoninge. Killing off a puck going to be a little bit more difficult for Illidan, but in his current position, level 13, it's going to be very difficult for Hellraisers to lock down this Slark, let alone kill him, and survive him is another story entirely. So This is going to be pretty dangerous for VP Polar. They've already shown that they can get kills without the Slark completely like they just did. But with Thunder God's Wrath down, maybe Illidan doesn't get a kill, but it seems pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's really anybody that survives. Maybe, just maybe, Axe, Puck, and Anti-Mage can get out of there, but it's just so much burst, especially to the Puck and Anti-Mage.
I don't even know if Axe can survive Slark. He doesn't actually have that much survivability. He'll be able to call, for sure, so the extra armor is going to mean that Illidan's pretty much going to hit for nothing. But Illidan's sticking power, if it's just Axe alone and he has no backup immediately incoming, Illidan's chasing power will be able to kill off the Axe. And the only chance for Puck to get out of there is pretty much orb into the trees or blink into the trees or get somewhere where Illidan cannot follow. And sometimes that's just not an option. But right now, we're going to unpause and all eyes are on Illidan. He's going to sneak around with the Shadow Blade, and they do not yet see Dread unless... no, he's going to instead clear out a triple stack of hard camps. However, Illidan's now completely surrounded. He's going to go into the Shadow Dance immediately. There is a lot of heroes incoming, though. Illidan into the Shadow Blade now. There is no coil, so Illidan is home free. I don't really know if Hellraisers saw the Slark there, but they seem to know that he was around.
He stole one of the large creeps and a couple of the small ones. It's still mostly farmed up by Hellraisers, but it's still a slight one for Illidan, I suppose. Nothing too major, though. He will go ahead and clean up a stack of his Ancients on top of it all, and VPP, they're in a pretty good situation as far as this game is concerned, although it has stalled out a little bit since Illidan's forced all the way back to base.
The mana pool on the Slark is going to be probably the most restricting factor for him, as it normally is, to be honest. But if you're going to be going around that aggressively and you're not going to be finding anyone, then after all is said and done, you're just wasting a lot of time. However, Goretz, he's going to get charged, neutrals softening him up, because here comes the cavalry. This is a level 4 charge and Spirit Breaker. I don't think he's going to cancel it, and Goretz has no freaking idea what's going on. Thunder God's Wrath, multicast, here comes the cow. 1 hit, 2 hit, that's going to be a kill on the Axe. In the meantime, well, Hellraiser's thinking about sending some backup, but it's going to be Slark actually picking up the Disruptor down towards bottom. I really can't afford to not look at this Slark, can I? Because whenever I look away, he gets kills. But it's going to be another 2 kill for VP Polar, maybe even looking to make it 3, as Artie's up towards top lane. Is going to TP out of there, but he's going to TP right into the clutches of Illidan. That's not where you want to be, Anti-Mage. You remember what happened last time, and Illidan, he certainly remembers what happens last time. Let's see if we could catch it on camera this time. 1 hit, there's the pounce, and this time Anti-Mage is going to blink out, but he gets really roughed up in the process.
He's going to be forced pretty much all the way back to base, and Slark commits hardly anything for that. A handful of bottle charges is all that he really uses.
Oh, Dread. He's charged now. And he doesn't have anything in order to answer this. He's going to get hit with the Nether Strike, and he's going to drop down very low. He might get the stun out in time, but the Familiars will clean him up in the end. Affinage going to try to reinforce the chase on Lil, who probably should take a Culling Blade to the face. Will dump a little bit of damage into Goddamn, although can't even get the Soul Assumption in time. It is going to be just a 1-for-1 support for support trade, but there was a pretty large passive portion in the game, like in between all those pauses. All of a sudden, VP, they just turn up the aggression really, really high, and they're fighting Hellraisers, for the most part, all alone.
Yeah, and Slark looks like he wants to go for round 2 on bottom. He's spotted out by the tower, so Artist not exactly sure what the plan was here. He's going to be dropped below half for nothing more than just the pounce and the Shadow Blade hit. And Slark's just bullying around the Anti-Mage at this point.
Anti-Mage, he's 5 freaking levels behind Illidan right now. He has no chance at getting into a man fight and coming out ahead. And Slark, he doesn't even have to kill the Anti-Mage. He just has to make the Anti-Mage really, really scared of farming. If Anti-Mage can't go past his tower, then like there's so much dead space where he would love to be farming, but he simply can't. Of course, now he does have the Battle Fury completed on him, but still, it's going to pretty much just be in his jungle where he's going to feel safe in farming. Anywhere else in Illidan and the Spirit Breaker combination can hunt him down and make sure that the Battle Fury doesn't get value.
For sure. Right now, the deep wardage coming up from VPP is pretty limited, mostly because Hellraisers have invested quite a few sentries to take out those wards, as well as protect them from the Slark invading their woods. But still, that's very taxing onto these supports. Currently, both of them are pretty darn poor.
And with the Slark on the field and Spirit Breaker, I don't think there's any way for them to really recover, since they're going to be constantly hunted down by these assassins. And right now, it's going to be VP just getting a little bit more gold on the Slark. He's holding on to quite a bit of it. Maybe a BKB is in the pipeline for the Slark, but if he wants to turn that into Sanjin Yasha, honestly, I don't think this is the worst game for that item either. It might be a fight brewing in the Dire jungle, because the Ogre is walking really deep in. He's getting hit with the coil, and Axe is coming in as well. FNG is pretty much completely screwed here. Is there any turnaround potential, though? Because because Illidan's closing in, is going to get silenced first of all. Thunder God's Wrath as well. However, there's a Static Storm, and Illidan has nowhere to go. He's going to take so much damage and will be brought down. Static Storm still doing damage, although it's not going to be doing too much. The Nether Strike is going to be canceled by a glimpse. He couldn't quite cast it, and now DK Phobos will throw one Lightning Bolt, will get the Witch Doctor, but will give his life in exchange with 2 Familiar Stomps. Not quite going to be in time. Mag going to try to kill off the Anti-Mage, falls short of that as well. He's going to go for Gorath, doing quite a bit of damage to the DD. Instead, deciding to go for goddamn, might as well go for the soft support. He'll charge forward, get that kill. The Visage, nowhere in the area, has Familiars still flying, is trying to look for the axe, but won't quite find it. That Glimpse, I think, just saved Hellraisers for the most of that fight, but also that Static Storm on a Slark. That is just so backbreaking right now, and Slark, he is going to go for the BKB, so next time that won't happen, but for this time, he just got completely wrecked.
It is crucial. Axe now sitting on 2,700 gold. Whatever Goritz is going to go for is going to have a pretty big immediate impact, collecting 800 plus gold after that Slark kill inside that last engagement. And Virtus Pro Polar definitely need to be careful about doing that one too many times. Battle Fury, now 1,000 gold on top of that for Artis. He's going to be able to farm a little bit safer now, but charge up towards top. Poor Witch Doctor. The train is coming for him, and it stops for no one. Under his tower, he can't do anything but watch himself fall. With the Familiar, drop 1, drop 2, Thunderbolt, Soul Assumption into his dead corpse. It's going to be the end of Witch Doctor's life. Glimpse back on the Spirit Breaker, however, into a kinetic field. They call him back, but there's just not enough damage. The Familiars are going to be spun down, and now Mag Dreamcoil onto the backline. Soul Assumption into Gore's. Gore's dropping low, but not before he gets the dunk off onto the Spirit Breaker. It's a 1-for-1 trade now. Lil dropping low, throws another Soul Assumption, still surviving, and Lil is going to make it out on the sidelines. He's able to TP out to safety as there's nobody else to cancel it. They get vision, but not fast enough. They're going to drop a Zeus ultimate, instantly killing off the axe, and now going to kill off Artis as they bolt him down. Shadow Blade, or rather the ultimate, coming out from the Slark as he chases down goddamn towards the tier 2 tower. Pound's going to miss, and Glimpse is going to save. No, it won't! He died! My goodness, that Disruptor is just so squishy. Slark, my goodness, collecting huge after that fight.
Yeah, he was a little bit late to that fight, but my god, when he came in, he made a huge impact. Visage, also deceptively tanky with his current build. It is going to be that medallion for him, and also Gravekeeper's Cloak getting him some serious value, was able to dump out a couple of skills that I think Hellraisers didn't expect him to throw out just because they thought he would die that much faster. By the time Slark got there, the fight was pretty much won by VP Polar because their Thunder God's Wrath was also cooling down, but Illidan coming in, collecting huge. Spirit Breaker starting yet another good fight for the VP Polar side, and well, now doubling up Hellraiser's kills. They're also going to jack a whole bunch of creeps in the enemy jungle, and now they actually have some vision in the enemy jungle. They've gotten rid of all the sentries and observer wards, and Slark is looking for more. He's going to maybe run to Disruptor, however, with everyone on Hellraiser right behind, it looks like everyone's going to make a quick retreat. Sentry is going to reveal the position of Hellraisers, but they should be just fine. There's a BKB now available for Illidan, and if he gets that one, then Hellraisers, the only answer that they have is going to be the call, but that only lasts for so long, and once that wears off, Slark is just going to be able to kill off anyone else. So BKB now up on him. As far as other items on the VP Polar side, nothing too substantial. Yule Scepter on the Visage. There's going to be a Vlad's being built up on the Spirit Breaker, and a BKB for Zeus. This is not the most common item you would see on this hero, but when you're talking about going up against a Disruptor and a Puck, all those silences, I think the BKB is justifiable for DK Phobos.
Yeah, I think so as well. Right now, Zeus pretty much conceding the fact that he's going to be outmaneuvered inside the fights, but he's going to be pretty darn tanky. 1,300 HP. They are going to be charging into the enemy side of the map. Dread is spotted out. Fire Blast to open things up. Ignite Multicast. Applying that to all 3 of the heroes, but the charge is going to be cancelled as Spirit Breaker goes for a rune instead. Spirit Breaker this game is going to be a pretty nice utility hero for the entire team. That Vlad's is going to get quite a lot of value.
Yeah, helping out the Slark a huge amount. The physical damage of the spins from the axe is also going to be reduced a little bit as well. They're going to try to go for RTs down towards bottom. He gets a lucky bash, and now the chain stun is following through for Lil. Man, if Mag didn't get that 17% roll, I think Anti-Mage would have been just fine, but instead, Mag is, again, pretty skilled at the hero. Illidan, though, is going to be wandering into one too many heroes. BKB is not going to save you here. Did not expect there to be a sentry there, but there was, in fact, 2 sentries there for Illidan, so wandering into the wrong neighborhood, getting sufficiently punished. It is going to be a 1-for-1 core for core, but it might not be over just yet. DK Phobos is going to pop the BKB and turn for Afo Ninja, but the Puck can disengage very safely, forcing out the BKB, the first BKB charge of DK Phobos, and Puck spends a coil for that. So worth it for the Puck.
Definitely. Goritz, after those couple of fights, has now picked himself up a completed Vanguard. Now the workings of an Aghanim Scepter for the axe is getting quite a lot of gold. In fact, outfarming the Anti-Mage just because the AMs died one too many times. 0-3-1. Can't really say AMs had a great game.
And he's the type of hero that can just suddenly explode right back into first place with that Battle Fury, assuming he's not going to be spotted and charged. The Vision now is back in control of the Hellraisers. It's really just been a seesaw battle of who can place observers and sentries and who could actually keep their observer sentries alive. I suppose VP Polar have a slight lead in that regard because they do have Zeus with the true sight of the lightning bolt, so they don't actually have to spend money in sentries. They just have to be patient with the Zeus. So right now it's going to be Hellraisers to be protecting their own jungle, and they're still being pretty much doubled up as far as CS is concerned, but if they just stay the course, I think they have a chance of coming back, especially if they get the kill on DK Phobos right now. There's a Fire Blast onto HeflaTV, but DK Phobos, he's going to get decapitated anyway. Zeus is down, and here comes the Spirit Breaker. HeflaTV, he really doesn't have many ways of escaping the Spirit Breaker until Spirit Breaker actually lands his charge first. He will try to get a lot of distance. In the meantime, Slark is going to find Dread and make short work of that Witch Doctor, although Glimpse back will save his life. They are going to open up instead onto Goretz. 3x multicast. Now the beatdown. Mag going to get one too many bashes once again. Goretz is going to be going down. Static Storm is down, but Mag doesn't really give a damn about that. Illidan already used his BKB. Now going to try to chase forward for Goddamn. I think the Familiar Sun's going to cancel it, and it will. Goddamn also going to be charged for good measure. That's a 3-for-1. Is there anyone else nearby? Artis is down towards bottom. Puck is retreating into his base. It's going to be a pretty nice series of events where VP Polar once again into the status of doubling up the enemy, and now they're looking for a little bit more because Mag has a charge and Artis is not going to get charged, actually, just going to be defending a tower. But man, VP Polar, when they are actually all together, they can fight so damn well.
Definitely. Anti-mages being a nuisance across the map, and they won't be able to transition that into the tier 2 tower, which is one of the weaknesses of VPP's lineup. They don't have the greatest tower pushing potential. Visage and his familiars is probably as good as it gets. And actually, Lil is committed into Yule's Scepter. I didn't expect that to actually be Yule's. I thought he was just going to finish up the Ags. But even so, the Visage is still farming decently well. Virtus Pro Polar, they lose their Zeus, but get pretty much everything on top of that, so it works out for them in the end. Artis still farming up inside the enemy woods. If he gets spotted out, could be in a whole heap of trouble.
He's just going to dance around DK Phobos, although I don't even think DK Phobos was aware of that. He's just going to be in so much trouble because of Spirit Breaker. The fact that they could keep Vision on the Anti-Mage, blinking for juking, is going to be pretty much an impossibility for the Anti-Mage. It's tough times for him for sure, but it's also tough times for Illidan because his Shadow Blade, it's done an okay amount of work for him, but Hellraisers, they've just been so diligent about applying sentries everywhere. Like, everywhere where the Slark wants to go, there is true sight there. So Slark really doesn't have any place to get value out of this Shadow Blade. At least, you know, in most of the time by himself. If it's the full squad of VP Polar, they could bypass that problem a little bit, but there is a wall of detection right now for Hellraisers that Slark is not going to be able to get through.
As a general rule, I like Blink Dagger better than Shadow Blade on most heroes, and Slark is no exception. Even though Shadow Blade would have been, in theory, good this game, and it has forced out Hellraiser supports too by those sentries, which is nice, I suppose, but I still think just the instant Blink initiation would have been a little bit better. However, he is going to look for a jump. They've spotted out the Axe, and with the charge coming in from the Spirit Breaker, this could be a pretty easy kill if they catch him out alone. But for now, he has backup a little too close for comfort, and Slark is going to instead just farm up some creeps.
He has a BKB, so unless they open up with a Blink Call, he's not going to go down. And, well, with the premature Shadow Dance, he's definitely not going to go down. He's not going to pick up the Basher. Slark going to start transitioning away from that ganking build into more of that I'm just going to smash your face in and carry the team build. Also, Spirit Breaker is that type of hero, so maybe it's time for VP Polar to shift gears into the late game. The Zeus is packing that Hand of Midas, has been working with it for quite a long time, and his Aghanim Scepter is in the pipeline. I'd like to see an Aghanim Scepter come up for the Ogre, but it seems like he's going to be going for Yule's Scepter himself. Up against Axe and up against everyone else on Hellraisers, Yule's Scepter is a pretty good item, but it's hard to say that anything is better than an Aghanim's on Ogre Magi.
It really is. And speaking of Scepters, Axe is going to complete up his as well. With the really low cooldown, even if he misses the dunk, it can still come through, and maybe they end up just dunking a familiar here or there. Either way, it's a really nice item for him to have, especially when you're dealing with a Slark who does want to get low, get into the back lines, and then real heal up. He's going to be inside the Shadow Blade, now joining forces with the Zeus. Doesn't find an opening, and for now both teams are posturing very aggressively, but haven't found an opening.
Slark's so close to blowing the smoke from Hellraisers, but unfortunately just out of range, and that might cost Mag his life because there's the Blink Call, Puck damage as well. Mag needs to charge out, but even if he does, he will take a glimpse. He's going to get coiled and decapitated, but here comes the VP Polar side, opening with Thunder God's Wrath. Goddamn, though, gonna lay a pretty nice static storm. BKBs will be forced out as everyone else from Hellraisers just will teleport out. Goddamn is gonna be chased down by Slark. Pretty sure his life is forfeit. However, Dread, he has to keep himself safe as he doesn't also go down. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but they force out the BKB of both the Zeus and the Slark, and Hellraisers, they disengage really cleanly. That static storm kinetic field might have just won Hellraisers a lot more than they really should have gotten away with.
For sure. And in the meantime, Artist has been farming pretty freely and takes a tier 1 tower in the mid lane to boot. So it's not all bad for Hellraisers. They take a 1-for-1 support trade, or it's technically not a support Spirit Breaker, but he kind of feels like it at this point. And Artist is able to farm. He's currently looking for a backdoor onto this tier 1 tower up towards top. That's pretty risky of him, but he might be able to get away with it. The Ogre Magi is close, but not close enough. He'll blink away before anything gets too hairy.
I have Goretz incoming as well. Familiars are in the area. Looks like the top tier 1 tower will survive at least for a little while longer, but this game is not as aggressive from VP Polar as I really thought they would be playing, mostly because of the vision of Hellraisers, but they're still doing pretty well in the CS, in the kill score rather. It just seems like they're playing it a lot slower than their lineup would really indicate. Illidan, though, may be looking to change that. He does see a target down towards bottom. Puck, not really a viable kill unless he gets the luckiest of bashes. And it looks like he's just going to resort to farming. VP Polar, maybe they're just going to start farming for now. It's BKB on the way for Spirit Breaker. That's going to help him fight for sure, but the BKBs are starting to dwindle already for VP Polar.
Yeah, they've been forced to use them pretty much every fight that they, or engagement they look to take. BKB is going to be in the works for a Spirit Breaker as well, and I suppose it's okay that they look to passively take this since they are running with a -, advantage over Hellraisers. And Anti-Mage, even when he gets 6-slotted, he can put a lot of pressure onto the lanes, but it's not an instant win for AM, depending on how many items he and the Slark have relative to each other. For now, Slark would be winning that man fight, especially if bashes are involved. Anti-Mage is still saving up for that Manta style, which is now flying to him.
Yeah, bashes, evasion, and illusions are going to be determining who wins in that man fight. Illidan is going to find RTs, pounce him up, but there is also enough true sight here with Thunder God's Wrath to actually spot him out for a charge. Are they going to commit fully into this one? Spirit Breaker's got to cancel that. That is suicidal, but I guess artificial true sight from VP Polar. Doing a lot of damage to the Anti-Mage, but he's suddenly all the way back up to full HP because I believe an earn charge, yeah, it was from the Witch Doctor, so it's dangerous for the Anti-Mage still. He has the Manta style now completed. He needs a heart or something if he's going to actually survive these fights. Or an Aegis, that's also good. And VP Polar right now, they do not know about this because both these heroes blinked in. There's no Thunder God's Wrath. I think this is going to be a clean Aegis steal from the Hellraisers.
Yeah, right now the tier 2 tower up towards top isn't being pressured very much by Virtus Pro Polar at all, so looks like it is just going to be a free Roshan with not much given up across the map either. Slark is farming up their woods, and right now the Radiant have wonderful control over the Radiant jungle, or over the Dire jungle. I said that backwards, but either way, that is your Aegis on Artist now picked up, and he can farm a lot freer now that he has it, although he's still not completely online. As you said, he definitely needs some sort of tank.
Even though he is packing that double life, it's not inconceivable to see VP Polar gank him once, and then once he pops up, charge him or nether strike him or something, and then just very quickly kill him again. So Artis needs to be still playing very cautiously until he gets a little bit more gold. It looks like they're going to go down the bottom lane. At the same time, Hellraisers are going up towards top. TPs from both sides going to prompt everyone to fall back, and Hellraisers, their late game is pretty much 100% in the Anti-Mage, and that's fine, but none of their heroes are actually getting that much else. Affinage is working with Hand of Midas. A Aghanim Scepter on the puck might be very useful for the team, but as far as everyone else's late game, their Witch Doctor needs an Aghanim to hit that point. He's very far away from him. Goretz, though, going to get jumped up towards top. Illidan going to help the BKB. Thunder God's Wrath going to drop as well. Goretz going to get mech'd up. Now the healing as well. Charge going to come forward, and Goretz is going to take a fall. Illidan with the BKB going to charge right through that field static storm combo. Gonna kill off Dread in a hurry. Now one more hit for Goddamn. Won't quite find it. And he will get jumped right back into the hands of RTs though. No bashing just yet. But Mag is gonna find time for another strike. No. He's gonna instead decide to charge RTs. If he gets hit by that, he's going to die with another strike. And there it is. Kaboom. Anti-Mage down. At least that's his Aegis. Illidan's still in the area looking for maybe a Fire Blast as soon as RTs comes up, but it can't come out in time. Need a faster skill than that, yet still it's a one fight by VP Polar. They're going to get Illidan glimpsed back. He will turn around, but he gets mana voided right in the face, and Anti-Mage is going to take that kill. Slark down. Now we're going to look for a little bit more Yule Scepter on the Ogre Magi. Familiars, number 1 drop, number 2 drop, buying him a little bit of space. Glimpse status, not up for another 7, as FNG is going to get torn to shreds by RT's. Orb falling through as well. Tower's going to drop in the meantime, but Ogre is dead, and Puck is going to pause the game. Maybe VP Polar just overstaying their welcome for a little bit too long. It started out pretty well for them, but once they decided to go past the tier 2 tower and really dive the base, I think that's when things started to turn.
For sure. If there was no Aegis on the anti-mage, that's a wonderful fight for them to take, but FNG doesn't even move after the pause comes out. Doesn't even matter, it is going to fall. After all is said and done, it's still okay for VPP, but not as great as they would have wanted, especially since anti-mage is the one to collect big in that last engagement, coming away with 1,000 gold more than he started with.
And just like that, Anti-Mage is up to 3,200 gold, 33. He could pick up his Reaver, and I assume it is going to be a health item for him, or a big ticket health item. No, it's going to be a Butterfly, so it is going to come down to, as I said before, illusions, evasions, and bashes, and I guess he needs to get that evasion up. Slark, he needs to now go for an MKB. He's pretty much prepared for that already with 4,500 gold in the bank. He's going to see that RT's item build is going to go towards the Butterfly, and they will be prepared for that as far as the Slark is concerned. The Spirit Breaker won't be able to do that much, and, well, no one else is actually putting out any physical damage, so this might actually be the correct build for Anti-Mage in this game if he could get his Butterfly faster than the Slark can get an MKB.
I don't think that's really in the cards, though. He's about, 1,500 gold until he has that Butterfly completed, and Slark doesn't need very much at all before he's able to complete up his Monkey King bar. Already has enough to pick up the Demon Edge, and after that it's smooth sailing to complete up the full item. So, yeah, I would have liked to see the heart from the Anti-Mage. He didn't know that Slark was pulling up this much gold, but we'll just have to see. Currently, Illidan, he's going to find himself Goritz inside the jungle. He's a lot tankier than he probably should be without the bashes and what have you. He is going to get that extra armor, but not going to save you from Spirit Cow. He is going to go ahead, ultimate from the Witch Doctor, as well as that double paralyzing cast. My goodness, it's a lot of damage, but with BKB on both of them, they're not going to fall. And multicast onto Artist, he's falling low. Mag is stunned up and can't do much about it, but it doesn't matter. Illidan, with the Essence stacks, is just doing too much damage. Mag looking for bashes onto Goritz, will find a handful, but not enough. Ultimate going to be cast? No, he is going to be decapitated before he's able to do so. Lil with the Aghanim Scepter isn't actually able to do much damage with these familiars, but now Goritz fighting continuously with Illidan. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33 stacks of that Essence Shift, just ripping apart that axe, and it's going to be a 4-for-1 trade. All they lose is their Spirit Breaker.
I think that was actually a 5-for-1 trade because the Axe also bought back in that. Spirit Breaker and Slark, they almost got completely crushed by that Witch Doctor. That was just him all alone with the cask as well as the Death Ward. Unfortunately, no Aghanim Scepter upgrade. It was only hitting one person. Then once the cask wears off, BKBs pop out, and then Hellraisers suddenly have no more frontline. The Anti-Mage got caught really early on, and I think that fight might have been won by FNG's luck there. His multicasting kind of got them out of that, as it looked to be really bad from the get-go, but they turned it around, take a massive series of wins, only sacrificed their Spirit Breaker and a couple of BKB charges, which, I mean, that's pretty much what BKB is for. They're going to take a tier 2 on the mid lane and also pressure the top lane before Hellraisers can get everyone back up online. 37 seconds until the Axe is alive, and as powerful as farms the Anti-Mage may be, they really need that initiation from the Axe if they're going to take a decent fight. VP Polar, they're not going to risk it though. They're going to be falling back, happy with their results, and I think that is well warranted. They now have a lot of extra gold, a straight MKB purchase from the Slark with another 2,300 in the bank, and DK Phobos is also working on that refresher orb. VP, that was a pretty disgusting fight from them, and the scary thing is that nothing really spectacular went right for them. They just took a pretty standard fight.
Yeah, it's still their fighting power pulling through to this portion of the game. Hellraisers, they haven't invested on a BKB on anybody, and that's probably not going to change for quite some time. Oh, Anti-Mage, Artist blinks into the wrong camp, and he gets shot down by Zeus. Yeah, that was unfortunate, to say the least.
Yeah, he thought he was fine. It's like, okay, let's just blink and farm. That's pretty standard Anti-Mage stuff, but as soon as you use your blink, you're just going to die if there's a Slark next to you. There's no way to get out of there. If he had a heart, no, I still don't think he would have survived there, but would have maybe bought him a little bit more time. Either way, he's down for a very long time. Does have a buyback, but even if he does buy back into this game, he's not durable enough. His impact isn't direct enough to really make it worthwhile for Hellraisers to continue fighting. They're going to shove the wave, first of all, VP, and then they're going to go straight for top lane. Onto the range racks as they go. They won't have enough damage to do this one, but they have their BKBs ready. As long as they don't get initiated upon by a really nice cask and or a call, they should be fine just to poke and clear the creep wave, especially if Illidan Stormage gets an ambush on Dread. Bash first hit, and he's going to annihilate the Witch Doctor. BKB is up for good measure as they throw the axe up into the air to delay the initiation. Their positioning not the best right now for VP Polar. The coil is going to land onto 2, but the BKBs are there as Goddamn gets obliterated by the Ogre Magi. Soul Assumption will finish him off. Now Axe looking to get a good call in, but he gets instantly thrown up into the air. The familiars will also chain stun him as RT is going to get hit with like something like 7 multicast from FNG. He will be brought down by Illidan Stormmage. Anti-Mage has no buyback. Goretz has no buyback either. No one Hellraisers has buyback. Mag being chased down by the puck, might be going down here, but FNG is so damn weak that he has to bail out as well. Top lane is in ruins. Mid lane is soon to be in ruins as well. I think VP Polar, just with 2 consecutive amazing fights, just won themselves game number 1.
It definitely feels like that. There's really nothing Hellraisers can do. It's puck against the world for the next 5 seconds, and the next one to respawn is the Witch Doctor, and honestly, you can't do much except for mech, and that's not going to save you. That's at least 2 lanes. Tier 2 tower down in bottom is going to still stand, so maybe, just maybe, they're able to hold on to most of their creeps with Dread. Bash down, he can't do anything. Charge going to be cancelled, and that's going to be all she wrote. Versus Pro Polar, dominating performances game number 1. I'm not sure if Hellraisers are going to call it GG outright, but it definitely feels like it.
I mean, their 2 racks is down. They have no buybacks. They have no more heroes except for the 2 that are alive. I don't think VP Polar can outright win the game right now, although it seems like they're going to try for it. Actually, they might actually just be able to win the game right now, so if they don't call GG, then VP Polar, they're going to take it the hard way, or maybe the easy way. I don't really know which one's which. Puck is going to try to do what he can. Axe is now back up alive, but Yule Scepter every which way. Goretz going to jump in, but he immediately gets multicasted 4 times. Thunder God's Wrath as well. BKB is up on Mag as Illidan snipes out the Disruptor, and now the puck. Can he escape? Arteez is going to return, but gets multicast in the space once again. Charge forward from Mag just to buy Illidan more time in order to hit the Raxes, and there's the GG. All it took was the Ancient to drop, and then they called GG, so I guess that's how you play the game. But anyway, guys, game number 1 is going to go towards VP Polar.
Yeah, and a great game it was. There was a little bit of a issue with the pacing, especially at the early portions with the Spirit Breaker pick, where they weren't able to find the openings, but as soon as they find the fights, it was all but over. My goodness. Really nice performance coming out from them. Slark had pretty much the best game you can ask for. Getting early kills, getting a Midas at 4 minutes and 20 seconds, I want to say. Yeah, can't ask for much better.
Alright guys, we're going to be moving on to game number 2, so don't go anywhere. We'll see if VP Polar can secure their spot in the Grand Finals, or if Hellraisers are going to be fighting back. I'm Mike Loris, I've been casting with Grandis V, and we'll be right back.